We are live now.
Hey guys, hello again. Hope you and your families are safe during these crazy COVID times. I'm Mandeep, and on this CLS platform today, I'm inviting this very young, talented author, Shravya Bhinder. She already has two books to her credit, and her first, Something I Never Told You, sounds like a suspense thriller to me. Well, it is actually doing the rounds of the bestseller chart. And recently, she's introduced her second also, To You with Love. Both are love stories and published by none other than Penguin House. Shravya has done bachelor's from Delhi University. Yeah, let's look at the title of her book. Isn't it exciting? I quite like it. Yeah. So Shravya, knowing more about Shravya, she's done her bachelor's from Delhi University and diploma in creative English. So before I welcome her on the screen, let me share a bit of a trivia about the prep up session. So when CLS called me and they said they would want me to moderate and host Shravya Bhinder, a young author who's written romantic novels, I was a bit skeptical. Am I the right moderator for this kind of a session? Mm, I think I'm a little old for this conjecture called love. I think we have taken all its synonyms and taken the best out of it and created this one unmatched product called love and packaged it into hope and longing. And we've been selling it from millions of years on through the fairy tales to poems, through songs, and also from the 75 screen. Uh, Not to miss the Bollywood, right? But all said and done, we all love to be beguiled and we all love to be bewitched by this phenomena. And we love the feeling of being in love. So, on this juncture, I would like to invite Shravya Bhander on the screen. Hi, Shravya. So, hi, Shravya. A big welcome to Chandigarh Literary Society.
Hi,
Hope
Mandeep.
good to have you here on the live chat. I was just talking to our viewers about your books, and we showed them the cover of your books. I must compliment you, they're really beautiful, and so is the story, I'm sure. Right? So you seem to have penchant for love, I feel, and I'm hoping that by that towards the end of this session, you would
Thank
be
you,
able to
Mandeep, and thank you,
preach
Chandigarh. Mhm.
Chandigarh Literary Society. Yeah, yeah. Right. So I'm saying that, towards the end of the session, you would be able to preach the love
Yeah, so
atheist
I was just
me
saying thank
back
you.
into the choir, back to the choir, and make me a believer all over again. So let me just start. I was reading your bio, and I felt there was something common between you and me. We both started scribbling a little early. So while I was writing poems, you were writing short stories and tales, right? So tell us something about it. I'm really intrigued. So, what were your early memories of writing, and when did you discover this author in you?
So first of all, though, because I do not have a very good internet connection right now, I was cut off. So thank you, Chandigarh Literary Society, for having me in this conversation. Coming to your question, yes, I did start writing very early in my life because I grew up in a house full of books, and when you are surrounded by stories, you tend to start becoming a part of the entire thing, and stories become a part of your life. First, you start reading them, then you start writing them. So I started writing short stories for my younger siblings to entertain them, and later on, they became full-fledged novels. I think I've been writing from a pretty young age, but what I do remember is that when I was in school, and I'm talking about high school, I used to write these really long short stories, and they're still with me. I do refer to them, and sometimes I pick out characters and
Oh,
instances from them.
okay, okay. You do that. That reminds me, I used to write my poems at the back of those capital textbooks that we used to have, the last pages of those, whenever I felt like, and I still have those preserved. And it's so amazing to see. Um, they were really those innocent times, and you wrote whatever you felt like, right? I'm sure you felt the same way. Now, carrying on, I was telling my
Mhm.
viewers before that uh, I have my views about this phenomenon called true love, soulmates, and romance and everything. And I'm in
Mhm.
habit of writing these quirky quotes. And once I write that you believe in this concept of love until you find someone. so so you tell me, are you a believer, or
Okay.
you write this because you think romance sells, and there are this whole lot of us who want to run away from the daily stress and sorrows of life and take refuge in this beautiful enigmatic world of romance and love, or you get to express yourself, something that you don't get to do in your day to day life. What is it?
I completely believe in love, and I believe that love is the most important emotion in the universe. It's been there before we were, it will be there even after we are gone. So it is the most powerful and the strongest emotion that anybody can experience. I believe that you can experience love every day in different forms. So I do believe in love, and I do believe in the kind of stories that I read and write. So love for me is very important in life, and I think unlike what people believe, I think your journey in love begins when you find your soulmate, and then you feel loved every day, not all day every day, but every day you have that feeling of, oh, I am in love. And
Oh,
it is beautiful. It is a beautiful emotion to experience.
okay. So that's what made you write the love stories and romantic stories, right? Good. You're a believer. So that is what
Yes.
I should say. Yeah, great, great. That's nice. I think towards the
Hmm.
end, I will also start believing after listening to you so passionately about it. So, there's another thing I often observe, that, our first story is usually our own biography, right? So, you can find many authors portraying themselves behind their protagonist in their novels. Like, if I recall, I could actually feel Khaled Hosseini in Amir of The Kite Runner. And I also felt that Alif Shafak, in if you know the author, she's written this 40 Rules of Love. I could see Ella having Alif Shafak behind her in her book. So is there something like that you too? I mean, are you also somewhere secretly hidden behind any of your characters, wanting to tell something you haven't told?
So honestly, all my characters are mostly heavily inspired from real life, but I cannot tell you that one particular character is completely me. I think every character, especially the central characters, will have characteristics of me as well as my beloved, because this is like unavoidable. If you think of love, if you think of characters, if you think of basing your central characters on anyone, you tend to put yourself somewhere, because that is what every writer does. We want to go into history without even being known to have gone into history, without making it very um, obvious. So yes, all my characters do have a part of me. So far I've not ventured into writing a character which is completely based on me, but yes, that is something that I would like to work upon sometime in future.
Yeah. So that is yet to come, huh? So we need to look for that, look forward to that. I think you need to be a little louder, because
Yeah.
just to dear viewers, Shravya is logged in from Australia, and maybe there's a bit of a lag because of that. So please bear with us. You need to be a little more louder, Shravya. As for me, I feel that, you know, slightly lower volume. So talking of inspirations, uh, you know, while I'm harping
Sure.
upon that, I don't believe in this idea of love
Sure,
so
I'll
much,
try.
but yeah. So I do fall in love with the stories and the characters and the writers who write such wonderful stories. They create such pinch yourself worthy real characters. and the way they are chiseled, and the sheer uh, ingenious storytellers gives me really goosebumps, right? So I'm sure you would have crafted some really beautiful characters in your stories, like you're saying they're inspired from some real people, and you must have poured your heart in writing some passages and creating this persona. So would you like to read something out of your book, some excerpt that brings these characters alive for our viewers?
Sure. So the latest one, To You with Love, is as the name suggests, there are a lot of love notes in the book, and there are a lot of tiny little letters that the girl writes to the boy. Now, the female character of this book is very strong-headed because I look at her as a survivor, as a warrior. So she tries to inspire the guy that she's in love with through her love notes, and I would be reading just a tiny portion of that love note. It is chapter
Okay.
9,
Okay.
page
Hmm.
125. To you. I saw you struggle with your manuscript last night. I saw your tear I saw you tear the pages of your diary in despair. You are trying something new, something that you had always wanted to do, but never really did. I am no expert at writing books, but I am an expert now at trying new things, even when I know that they might not really work. I have a piece of advice for you. Please be patient with yourself and give yourself time to grow. Think about how proud your past self shall be if he could see you now. Rome was not built in a day, remember? Life opens up new gates of opportunities for you. Either you take a step and walk towards them, or you stay afraid of crossing over. You have an opportunity that so many people will die for. So make the most of it, but do not be unkind to yourself while you do so. After you've read this, come into bed and snuggle with me. With love. So this actually shows the kind of inspiration that
Beautiful.
she wants to imbibe into the boy, and I, yeah, thank you.
That's wonderful. That's really sweet. That's really, giving me that motivation to really go and grab this book as soon as I can. Tell us more about
Mm.
this book. What is
Okay.
this book about? And, what are the kind of characters you tried to create? What is the message you're trying to give?
So when I started writing the book, I was very clear that I wanted to touch upon certain issues in the society, and I've tried to do as much as I could in terms of writing about them. The
Um, I think we are losing Shravya. Um, Shravya, you need to log in again. Looks like the internet on your side is slightly weak. I think we lost each other. Some signal issue, it looks like.
yes,
Are you? Yeah, you
I
were telling us something about your book. I know. And suddenly I lost you, and then I also got disconnected. So, okay,
yeah,
yeah, tell us, tell us. Yeah,
it's okay. How far did you guys listen to? First, tell me.
yeah. No, you were telling us about your book that,
Okay.
you have. Yeah, yeah. Let's go on.
Yeah, so we lost each other around the same time. So I was telling you that
Oh,
the central character is really strong, and she has a lot of ambitions. However, the boy she's in love with is laid back. He wants to do things in life, but does not really take a step forward to do those things. So I wanted people to read the book and see themselves in these characters apart from being relatable, the characters also have their own backstories. Like the boy's character, his parents also have a love story. His best
oh.
friends are a gay couple. They have another love story. So there are a lot of love stories that are happening, and I have tried to touch base on child abuse. That is one thing that I feel very strongly for, and I really wanted to bring it up because I have seen very few books actually touch this topic when it comes to mass market fiction. When the problem actually is in the society, and I think it's our responsibility to bring it out and talk about it as much as we can. So mass market fiction is one platform which allows you to reach out to multiple people at a time. You know, not
Oh,
everybody reads literary fiction, but
okay,
mass market
okay,
fiction does sell a lot. So I've tried to do my bit.
okay, okay. That's good. That's a good learning. Um, so, what is your method? I was just wondering when I was reading small excerpts of your book on the Amazon, and I was trying to visualize that. Do you visualize the story in your mind? Sorry, do you visualize the story in your mind first, from beginning till end, and then you weave your yarn around it? Or do you have this one compelling thought and then you let yourself flow, you know, let your mind wander and your mood guide you? How do you go about writing your book?
So I usually write a synopsis, a plot end to end. Now, while I write the synopsis, I don't think much. It's just a skeleton. And then I take a step back, and the tricky part comes in because I try and decide which voice would do justice to the story. Because last two books, I have written them in male voice, and my editor is usually very worried because I'm a female and I always tend to pick up the male voice. But then this is the first thing that I do. I take a step back and I let the story decide the voice. Once the voice is decided, I start writing, and I do ponder over the story for a few months. That is a really bad part, but most of the work happens here. And then once I start writing, I complete it in 3 to 6 months. But having said that, not all the time the story goes as per the synopsis. In fact, hardly does it go as per the synopsis. The story has its
Takes
own
its own
soul.
shape. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I like the way you put it. Story has its own soul. Yeah, beautiful. So, while you're saying, in fact, when I read about your book, that little excerpt of the book, I also
Mhm.
felt that you had written as the, boy of the story. It was a male
Mhm.
uh, writing and describing the story about the woman or the girl
Mhm.
in the story. So, do you think you've been able to do justice to the feelings of a male by, yourself being a girl, thinking from a guy's mind, and you're
Mm.
able to connect and relate to that?
See, obviously, there it is challenging because most of the times I am thinking like a girl, like 90% of the time. But it also gives me the opportunity of portraying my female characters in the way that I would want to be perceived in someone's mind. It gives the male character a female head, a female mind. It is
Okay.
challenging, but then the challenge is fun, and I can describe the beautiful girl the way I want somebody to describe me, probably. But sorry, no, I'm not saying that I'm beautiful, but just like that.
At least, the boys will learn there's another way to think, right?
Yeah.
I think there's somebody in this world who thinks like that, so it can become a motivation
Mm,
for them, I'm sure. That's so. Do you take
yes,
some
hopefully.
feedback from somebody, some male member in your family, just to say, do you think I've done the right thing? Do you think this is how
No,
boys think? You don't.
no,
Okay,
because
but it's still a bestseller, and I'm sure people are really loving and liking it the way you have described and portrayed male as well as female characters. I'm sure
mm,
it's fun. So your books carry some. Is it a serious kind of a love story, or there is some fun in it? There is some humor in it. What is the kind of stories do you tend to pack together?
so I do understand that what I write is mass market fiction because it's a choice. I want more and more people to read my stories. So I write mass market fiction and it cannot just go very gray. So I try and incorporate humor. I try and incorporate small little things that should touch hearts without making it too dull or too gray or too heavy. So yes, all that happens, but I always try and keep the undertone serious because life does have a lot of serious things, and it's better to talk about them.
Okay. Okay. What are you? What is it like being Shravya Bhinder, the person behind that author?
So I am a lazy person. I like cooking.
You've written 2 books in 2 years. You can't say that. I was amazed when I saw your last release and then the recent release. It was really amazing how fast you completed 2 books and just, like one after the other. So, okay, now that you say you're lazy, let's hear from you more.
I read a lot. In fact, I can lie down in the bed or sit in a corner and keep reading all day. I have completed really thick titles in a couple of days. I read a lot. What else? I'm a foodie. I love food.
Oh,
I really love food. I like cooking too.
oh,
And
you do.
yes, and in every book I try and leave myself, in nooks and corners for the readers to find me and know me more.
Oh, wow. That's nice. Of course. Uh, so, now that you're a full-time author, I'm sure you must be toying with a new idea and a new story in your mind, right? You know, at the
Yeah.
speed you write. Yeah. So, what is this new book brewing up in the back burner? You want to talk about it? Is there something
Yeah.
already going
So,
on? Yeah.
so there's this idea in my head, and I've spoken to my editor about it. Not everybody, but quite a lot of people are really fascinated by the era of 40s and 50s, and I am one of them. So I want to write a retro romance, and
Oh,
yes, and I want to incorporate some of modern times and probably another love story in it with the modern times too. But I really want to go back in time through my writing and see how it was in 50s and 40s, in my imagination at least. So that is hopefully going to be the next project.
yeah, going back. So, have you done some research? Because you're a young girl. I mean, going back and really knowing how things were, how people felt
Mhm.
like that, unless you've interviewed your parents, your uncles, and aunts, and tried to dig out some romantic stories out of their lives.
I've actually tried to contact a few people, so let's see, because I do understand that a lot of work will go into this kind of a book, a lot of research will go. I can't just make up something in my head and come with it. Having said that, I'm not that young. I know a lot of people think that I'm very young, but I'm not that young. I am pretty experienced in life, and I hope that I am able to find people who are willing to share things with me very soon. And the moment I do that, I'll start writing.
Wow, can't wait. But tell me, I
Yeah.
mean, are you again going for the same genre, or you're planning to try something new, a suspense thriller, or a biopic, or a social or a motivational kind of a book? What is the kind of genre you want to write this time?
The, the last book, Something I Never Told You, it was based on somebody's real life instances. Now,
Oh, okay.
though it was romance, but it was still based on someone's real life. And the next, I think I would keep it light and romance. However, I do want to indulge in spirituality once, and I want to write
Oh,
a non-fiction book on spirituality. Let's see how it goes. But yes,
okay.
that is also there in my radar.
In your mind. Yeah, yeah. That's another
Yeah.
one thought kept somewhere
Hmm.
to dabble with in some time. Yeah.
Blinking.
Yeah, constantly. That's
Yeah.
lovely. I know. So I'm sure there are a lot of young people who are watching this live and maybe may want to watch it later as and when they have time. Would you want to give them a message, the young aspirant authors who want to learn how to write? They have a story in their mind. Like they say, everybody has a story, your own
Yes.
story and to tell to the world. So, what are the tips you would like to give as an experienced author? Like you said, you're very experienced, you're not as young as you look. So, why don't you give them some tips that how to make a career, how to write their story,
Yeah.
and
So,
make it a
in fact,
bestseller too?
make it a bestseller. So the first thing is to start writing. Mostly what people do is I have a story and I want to write a book. And when you ask the third question, is, have you started writing? No, I just want to know how will it get published. So the first thing is you have a story, you want to write a book, write. After you've written, then worry about the publication process. And selling books is not that difficult. See, I'm sitting in Australia. If I could sell so many copies of something I never told you, so for anybody who's living in India, it is easier. It is not as difficult as people think it is. So don't worry about selling. Don't worry about publishing. First, worry about writing. And while you're writing, read a lot because reading is important. Reading is very
Yeah,
important.
I think everybody says that. All the authors, when
Yes.
you talk to, they say, you have to read a lot. You have to read volumes to take out that little, milligrams of
Inspiration from it.
writing.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. It's a lot of reading that is required to be done. These days, a
Yep.
lot of you know, while the love for reading content will always remain because it is that earthy, surreal feeling that you get when you read. Like I said, I fall
Mhm.
in love with the stories. I savor them like towards the end, I start to savor them like, a very sumptuous meal. You don't want this to
Yeah.
end. I hold on
And
to it and I slow down in reading.
you feel
That
empty when the
romance.
book has ended. You really feel empty. You're like, oh my God,
Oh
the book is
yes, oh
ended.
yes, yeah. You start getting those withdrawal symptoms, and I have to look for
Yes.
something really good to really
Mhm.
replace that feeling of void. So it's going to be the romance with books. I hope that is going to always remain. But in today's world, this whole multimedia content which is coming and is distracting us, to the different things, the social media, the streaming platforms, the audiobooks, the series on Netflix and Amazon, a lot is buzzing and happening in our lives, right? So for
Mhm.
an author to remain abreast with what is happening latest and remain relevant in the coming times, what are the extra things one has to learn, do, and introduce to the style of writing?
See, I think one, as long as one is observant and not overtly observant, it all works well. So, because as you said, so much is out there. Now, when you switch on the TV, I call it the idiot box at home because it is actually an idiot box. It makes you feel like an idiot. There's just
Oh, really?
so much
Mhm.
happening, and then you also have Amazon Prime and other platforms. So, obviously, you have to pick and choose. You have to uh, understand that everything has its own place in life, and you have to balance it out. Being an author, it is very important for anybody, for us to, stay on top of things that people are doing, but not get sucked into it. So it is all the more important to understand अच्छा अभी limit है, let's stay in the limit. Let's not dwell too much into it. Reading is irreplaceable, but all the media content will come and go. Don't get sucked into it. That's what I feel. Don't get sucked into it. Don't get sucked into news also, because our
Okay,
life is outside all this.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So
Hmm.
go out, meet people, talk to people, see people. If you don't like talking, see people, sit in a corner, observe people.
And you get a lot of thoughts around people. It's
Yeah.
very interesting to observe people. I sometimes So I was interviewing this author Nilima Dalmia Adhar. So she said, I'm a people watcher. So I said, yeah, I think it's very essential for an author to have
Mm-hmm.
a very deep observation beyond the second and third layer of the normal, what is visible to you, to go behind the character in the minds of the people, to understand how they think, why they act in a particular manner,
Yeah.
and they continue to behave in a certain manner over and over again, despite you feel, I mean, you see that life teaches them a lot of lessons, and it tries to give you different experiences, but they tend to again react and respond to situations in a certain manner, because that's their ingrained character all about. So
Yeah.
I think it's really amazing, and it's a very interesting insight that an author needs to have. Otherwise, the characters will never look real and feel real, when you
And
read
they'll
them.
not
There's
have the depth. Yeah. The depth will
Yeah,
be missing.
absolutely. They'll be very superficial. Yeah, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true.
Agreed.
But what is your thought around? Are you also writing these days? People write something like the screenplays, so that it can be easily, made into a movie or into a series. Are you also doing something like that, or you make an attempt to write your book
I
in a manner that it can be easily
uh
converted into a series or a multimedia content?
I am so much of a book person and so little of a TV or multimedia person that the thought never occurred to me that I should write or convert my books into anything. So I think if you do not aim for that, it will never come. So I've never aimed, and I'm still not aiming for a movie or a web series around my book, because I think many a times you lose the beauty and charm of the book when they become web series. So there are specific content writers and script writers, that's their job. They do know how to do their jobs well. They can pick up the stories, they can mold their stories accordingly. So I would rather leave that job to them, and I concentrate on my books. Books are very charming, so I don't want to spoil their charm. Mostly whenever you watch even Hollywood movies and you read the books, very few of them have been able to do justice. So I don't want to be in that position.
I know, I agree with you totally, because the every time you read a book and you try to watch a movie based on that book, you will always be left, little
Hmm.
and dissatisfied that they haven't been able to do justice to the story, or
You're like,
it's
what was
it's just cut
this? What
short,
was
snipped.
this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you just you just don't like it that the book has
Yeah.
not been done justice to. So that's true. Maybe it is also in book you have the liberty to create a situation through the words,
Mm.
it's all in your mind, and those to create those exotic places in real may become actually a challenge. And then the time
Yes.
frame within they have to complete and finish, because there's always a time limit within they have to
Yeah.
complete a series or a movie, and that makes them choose, snip and edit and take certain things, which takes away the real beauty of that book, I must say. I agree, I totally
Yeah.
agree with you. Yeah. Do you write only in English, or do you also write sometimes in other languages?
I read a lot of Hindi, and I read do read translated words as well. But writing wise, somehow the beauty of writing in Hindi, it's never come to me. I'm handicapped that way. When I read beautiful verses in Hindi, I really, oh my God, this is so beautiful. And sometimes in Punjabi words and these not short snippets, sometimes they're so beautiful, and when you try and translate them, they just lose the beauty. So I really
I know.
I really hope one day I'm able to write in other languages too. But right now, I'm sticking to English because I need to really, you know, tune myself and get that kind of level on, get that kind of
Yeah, yeah,
skill to write in that
yeah,
particular language, because that skill is required. And
yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm that skilled right now. No,
Not ready yet. I'm sure you would
not
have
ready right
soon.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. So we're almost coming towards the end of our session. So
Mhm.
any message you want to leave for the viewers? Any parting thoughts? I know it's way past
Um,
your dinner time and it's very late for you. And thank you for
no,
adjusting to the Indian time, Indian Standard
oh no,
Time.
it's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure to be talking to you guys, and I really hope that everybody is safe and everybody is healthy during these times. It's all the more important to indulge in self-love. Do indulge in self-love. Do indulge in pampering yourself and others around you. Stay happy, stay healthy. Our life is what is the most important. Emotional health is important. So stay connected. And if you feel that the COVID times are getting too stressful, read, watch movies, do whatever, but be connected with the world or be connected with the imaginary world and perk yourself up. Be happy. All this will be over soon. Hopefully, very
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, how beautiful. I mean, yeah, yeah, sure, it would be. Yeah. So with this, we come to an end of the session, and was really great having you, Shravya, on this platform. And I personally
Same
enjoyed
here.
this interesting and very honest and engaging conversation with you. Hope our viewers also enjoyed and they had a great time too. So thank you all for being with us, liking, encouraging us, and with your comments. I have not been able to see the comments much, but I'm sure I can see a little thing blinking on the corner. So thank you so much for being there with us throughout. Let's wish Shravya a big success for her new book, To You with Love.
Thank you.
It sounds like some really love letters to me, and I'm already excited and wanting to go and grab a copy of that and read it soon. And for viewers, there is already a link in the comment section for you to check out her book and buy right away. So, all the best once again. I couldn't have asked for a better Sunday evening than having this wonderful conversation with Shravya Binder, a wonderful author we have amongst us. So, from this, at this
Thank
note, thank you so much. Any parting last words, Shravya, before we sign off and say bye bye?
thank you, Mandeep, and thank you, Chandigarh Literary Society. I've really enjoyed the session. I was hoping that it becomes this chit chatty, and it did. So most likely, this is my last live for the promotion of To You with Love. So whosoever is watching it, this is my last live. Do go and read the book and let me know how it is. You can connect with me on Instagram. Thank you once again for all the love for something I never told you. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, signing off from the sessions, today's session, to be back with you soon
Bye.
with more stories, more authors, and many more conversations. Bye bye, and have a great evening.